Come on along for an interesting ride, because director Richard Donner is going to take us to another time and another place with his new film from Warner Brothers called Ladyhawke. Quite honestly, one of the most staggeringly beautiful films I've ever seen. So much for critical detachment.
No, don't. I love it.
It is gorgeous. You and cameraman Victor Vittorio Storaro.
Yeah, a mouthful.
Have given us a feast. How important is the visual look of any picture that you do?
Oh, I think all pictures demand their own look. This one in particular, since it is a story of impossible love, and you hope the lovers can get back together and be together, we decided we really wanted to mount the picture in a very beautiful frame, so that they weren't living in a world of depression. They were living in a beautiful world, and they could come back to something beautiful.
Let's examine some of the ways that you give us such a feast here. For example, you shoot from a low angle a lot. What was your intention with that?
Well, the lower the angle, for me, and on locations, gives you that much more scope and space, and sky comes in, background comes in, it becomes more dimensional too, because there's so many more steps of depth. And in so doing, I just kind of pushed for that sense of visual, the greater scope. If it was an intimate picture of two people in a room, you're usually eye level in the walls. We were outside. We wanted to take the best advantage of the exteriors, make the interiors look large and grand and scope-like.
And what exteriors? The long shots. Some of the locations, for example, where you went.
Oh, well,
what a tour.
It is a tour. It's a tour of Italy. It's
a tour de force, I suppose.
Gee, thank you.
Sorry,
No, I love it. How about reviewing for New York News, Time magazine? We found Italy to be everything we wanted it to be. The medieval doesn't exist anymore in an odd sort of way, because there's no longer an isolated area. You find a castle on a piece that you want, and if you pan 1 degree to the right, you have a high-rise and television antennas and factories. It's been saved, but it hasn't been saved very well. So the composites of the bishop's castle, for instance, was actually shot on 3 separate locations. The exterior being in one city that had a moat that we could flood. It hadn't been flooded in 200 years. And when we flooded it, we did flood it, and part of the city. And then the interior, once you enter the city and the gates of hell, that I call it, that night lighting, you went into the bishop's castle itself. That was an entirely different area. It was about a 300 or 400 mile drive. So if it was any reality, to go in the house and go to his room would have taken him 2 or 3 days.
In a film of such size and visual beauty, do you think sometimes an audience might be intimidated in that they might overlook some of the laughs, some of the humor that is there?
Hopefully, if they do, they'll be aware of it and go back the second time.
Yeah.
There is some wonderful comedy and humor. There's a rich sense of humor to the piece, which I am a person that likes humor, likes it. Matthew Broderick delivered it better than anybody could, and hopefully, if it is the kind of picture that if a picture is successful today, people want to go back 2 times.
But like all artists with the gift of laughter, you have it up your sleeve to scare us to death sometimes. And in The Omen, and certainly in portions of Ladyhawke, we have that as well.
It was part of the story. I mean, you still had to feel that the life they were living had a great threat.
But where does that come from in you personally, that sense of terror and comedy sometimes happening within minutes of one another?
Well,
what's that say about Richard Donner?
I don't know, but when I go to a strange hotel, I always open the shower curtain. I look under the bed, and if I'm caught, I laugh. So, I mean, that could be the comedy. I'm a person that likes, as I said, the happy sides of life, but at the same time, I'm the first to walk up behind somebody and in their concentration and such, or in the back of a theater and scare the hell out of them by one good shout. But
something else you said that I thought was very significant about you. Many movies succeed all too well in showing us how dull life is. That's not what you're after.
No, I'm not. I'm really not. Even to me, the end of a movie, if you don't come out up and happy and feeling satisfied, it's not the movie I made. I'm a firm believer. I turn them all around usually. This script in particular demanded that you ended on a up and happy note, and life can be beautiful, and life can go on, and lovers can be lovers. I demanded it of the piece, and the writers that I worked with on it delivered it most beautifully.
Something else I wonder about you in pictures like this and Superman, the scale, the sheer size of all of this would scare most people away. You like that, I guess.
I don't.
Well,
I really always said I don't want to make any more movies that are that big and that problem, but it just seems to be, you get into them, they get out of hand, and you start to see it very grand and very visually, and demand of the surrounds of the people you're involved with that they give you their best and their biggest.
Let's explore one side now away from the glitter and glamour of Ladyhawke. Take us onto the Italian locations and share with us maybe at least one moment where the sheer complications of it all were just too much and you were just down about it all, and as a human being you're saying, what have I gotten myself into, you know?
That didn't happen except every morning when I woke up.
Only then?
Yeah, it was. I mean, we had 4 hawks we had to fly over from the United States. We had 4 wolves we had to bring in.
Did they fly on their own, or did you have a ship?
First class. They have a guild. 4 wolves had to have a special veterinarian flown with them all the time, and their own individual trainers. The horses, those magnificent horses, the Friesen Dutch horse that he was riding.
In the middle of it all, you're saying, what am I doing? Maybe?
What am I doing? The horse has never been out in the pasture. It's been a circus horse that had never worked outside before, and it was scared of daisies and butterflies. It was unbelievable. Plus the fact of carrying a troop like that, the amount of people we had from one end of Italy to the other, and not lose them.
Richard Donner, thanks not only for Ladyhawke, but this is my chance to say thanks for Inside Moves.
Oh,
favorite film of a lot of us for all time.
Thank you.
Richard Donner has taken us to a lot of places and times, and we always go first class. For KCTV5 in Hollywood, this is John Tibbetts.